Okay. All right. Hopefully we're back now. Hopefully it's going to run in 1080 this time. Hopefully it's going to run in 1080. Please, I'm hoping. Hopefully that switch over. Hopefully we didn't lose everybody. We back. Hey, Slonk. I really hope this will work to have a 1080. If not, then okay, that's just the way it goes. I'm gonna check it on my end. If not, then I know what the actual issue at hand is. I really hope this works. Looks like it's still locked at 720. Man, what a disappointment. Oh well. Yeah, the issue with that is not YouTube after all. The issue is my internet. I live out in the middle of nowhere, and so the internet available is not the greatest, unfortunately. But I did just meet with someone yesterday out in my home, and they are supposedly bringing fiber optic to my area. So hopefully that comes soon, and hopefully it's within a reasonable, affordable price. But it is interesting because I've streamed in 1080 before, but for some reason today it is not. It's not liking it today, which is unfortunate. But no, well, ShareNet. Even if it's not 1080, it'd be good to hear your thoughts on Void Rivals. Yeah. And mostly for the most part, this is to have a dialogue with you guys on Void Rivals. Again, if there's going to be, if I decide that there's going to be an official video on Void Rivals, then that'll be done the normal way that these videos are done. So, all right. So yeah, Vortex is new on the shelf. Happy I finally found him. I've been going back and forth on what I want to actually collect. I've decided to really just stick with Generation 1 Chug stuff. I'm probably not going to get all 13 primes at the end of the day. Mainly Autobots, but the Combaticons are my favorite, so that's why I grabbed Vortex. I saw him at a Target when I was there for something else and immediately grabbed him and ran. Johnny Craft, got to leave early, but wanted to ask what you're thinking. Who would think would win in a fight, Jazz or Soundwave? I think Jazz would be able to outmaneuver Soundwave in some areas. So, came for the Delta yapping. I can't stop spinning this guy's blades. But on top of Vortex, his mouth is popping open again. That's not the only new thing. I probably should have had this right. It's not the only new figures I had. Let's see here. Grab these two guys. These are also pickups of the month. Both of them I got for cheaper than what they normally go for. The first one is Gears. This is the retro issue. I'm super excited for that retro Sea Spray that's coming out. That looks like such a fun figure. So I've got him on my shelf kind of crouching down in front of all the other Autobots. He's just such a nice, blocky, chunky little dude. I just love him. I like the reviews of the original release. I never got him. And so yeah, love him. And then, not beating the red and blue allegations, I did also pick up the new More Than Meets the Eye edition of Perceptor. Again, this figure is just, you know, Perceptor was never one that I really thought I needed, but this figure is just, he's so clean, and I already have Studio Series 86 Blaster. So to be able to get this guy with Ram Horn and Ratbat too was just awesome to have more. And like Blaster, he's just a good, solid, like squared off, chunky, vibrant robot, and I just love it. I absolutely love these guys. So my Generation 1 Chug shelf continues to grow. I really want Sea Spray. I will probably get the Retro Brawn. I kind of want the original Brawn, but he's not on store shelves anymore, so at least not for me. So Retro Brawn it will be once I see him. You're about to learn some lore about Gears. Is my least favorite characters in all of Transformers. I'm not surprised by that. Collecting mini bots, are we? Yeah, you know, I've got I've got 86 Bumblebee, and I have the Buzzworthy Bumblebee 86 Cliff Jumper. I'm not looking at getting Warpath, really. He looks fine, just nothing really for me, because I need to get some guys that are not red or blue. I have Titans. Is it Titans Return Legends Beachcomber? And I originally had the Deluxe Beachcomber on. This guy's got some red paint on his chest. I had the Legacy Deluxe Beachcomber on pre-order. Still not available. I think his shipping time went from originally it was going to be April of this year, and now it's December of this year. I canceled the pre-order because I have a Beachcomber, and I like the Beachcomber that I have on my shelf. So, but yeah, Brawn, I'll definitely be grabbing, as well as Sea Spray. I'm super excited. And Power Glide. When Power Glide comes out next year, oh, I can't wait for Power Glide. Power Glide's going to be awesome. Delta, you need Cosmos. I have a Cosmos. I have the, is it Thrilling 30 Legends Cosmos? I have him, and I actually like that skinnier version of Cosmos. I like him, so. Hey, Monkey Chip. Perceptor will probably be my next pickup, mostly because they have a lot of him at Target. JS, he's a really good figure. He's really fun, and I actually really love Ramhorn. My Ratbat is still sitting in the box, but that's just because I don't really have a Decepticon shelf at the moment. Where did I get Vortex? I found Vortex at a Target. When I looked online, I've been looking at Walmart and GameStop and all these different places, and I just happened to find him. So he has been hard to find as of late, at least for me. So, all right, I'm going to put these guys back and show you a few more things we got this month. So, you guys may not be a fan of this. That's why I'm not really talking about it on the channel much. But, I like G.I. Joe now. Man, G.I. Joe is so cool. I did not grow up with G.I. Joe. I grew up with Transformers. G.I. Joe is not something I grew up with. I never had any of the toys. These are my first G.I. Joe toys ever. I read the book 1 finally. I'm catching up on the comics to be caught up on the Energon universe. And I don't know, there's just, I've always loved action figures of guys in suits with helmets on. You know, medieval knights, hazmat guys, robots, things like that. And the fact that there was a character named Barbecue, I had to get him. His name is, I don't know where his box is, but he's got like a normal name like Joseph Barbecue Quincy. That's not actually it, but this figure itself is fun. Something that I'm learning, just again because I've never collected G.I. Joe, is he's a little, I guess the term is gummy. Like I'm not moving his joints, and sometimes he'll be on the shelf and he'll just, you know, wobble around. These are drop down hips though, so they drop down from their pin. That way they can lift up. So for the most part, Barbecue just stands on the shelf looking cool with his gun, which I don't know if he's starting fires or not. I know technically in the original Sunbow cartoon he would give children PSAs to stay away from fire and how to escape fire. So I don't know. G.I. Joe heads. Makuta of Salt, I know you're in there. You say, my months of harassing Delta to read the G.I. Joe comics paid off. Yeah, Makuta of Salt, tell me, what is this gun that Barbecue has? He's got his really cool axe here. Another one on his tank that's actually falling off. And I just love him. They do make a blue version of Barbecue, but I did not want the blue version. I wanted regular Barbecue. Currently Cobra Commander, Destro, Risk Chameleon, Risk, Stalker, and Clutch are my favorites. Delta, seeing as you're the creator of Skybound, of course, yeah. Do you think Cosmos will appear in Void Rivals and or Transformers? I think he would fit more in Void Rivals, in the future of Void Rivals. This is actually the reason why I really got into collecting these figures, and it's this Firefighter figure. This is the G.I. Joe, I think they call it Legacy Collection Firefighter, and this is kind of a collection that they're doing of real-life first responders. I believe there's a police officer one that they maybe canceled or pushing. I don't know. But there's just something so awesome about a a firefighter action figure, and I've got him holding these 2 axes, something a real firefighter probably wouldn't be doing running around. But this is just such a unbelievably well sculpted, amazing figure. He comes with so many accessories, which I've got a bunch of his accessories in this baggie. He comes with this big claw arm and a hammer and bigger axes and a secondary head that's got some goggles on it. He even comes with a thermal blanket, which I still have in the box. Not an actual thermal blanket, but it's just so cool. These figures, they're so well articulated. They're so well detailed, and it's even gotten me into some toy photography, which you can see on on my Instagram user. It's just been so much fun. So what I really want to do is I want to do a diorama. This is why I'm getting these guys. I want to have this firefighter in shot with all this fire. I've been using the Mechatronus fire around him. All this fire around him. And he's like, I got to put this fire out. And then you've got Barbecue on the side, not helping, giving a PSA. And then I need to get, I believe his name is Blowtorch, another G.I. Joe, who has a flamethrower, who started the fire. So these 3 heroes who are just not helping each other all. I just thought that would be a funny image to do. So I have to find a Blowtorch at some point. Yeah, they're just really cool. And again, their accessories, the helmet, the gas mask comes off, the backpack comes off. You can technically holster things, and it's really cool. I want Hasbro to do more of these legacy figures. You know, do an EMT, do a police officer, do a mountain rescue person. Do more of these. These are awesome. I love the goofiness of G.I. Joe too. Again, having never grown up with it, I do love this. There's a guy named Barbecue. That's his coat. Cool. I love that. But I also want the more realistic, lifelike, non-named characters. I think that's just awesome. So let me catch up on chat here. What is your favorite G.I. Joe subcomic so far? Cobra Commander has been my favorite. Reminds me of Billy Blazes from Rescue Heroes. Yes. Yeah, I remember Rescue Heroes as well. Apparently in G.I. Joe, the heroes use more fire-based weapons. The actual literal terrorists. Who knows? Okay, all right. Let's get to what we were actually going to talk about. First off, let's see if I can stand. Oh, wow, I can't stand. He's not going to stand up on his own, though. I'm going to put this guy up here in the corner. Can I have him kind of peeking his head through? Here, let's put him down here in the corner. That'll make for a nice YouTube thumbnail after the fact. I don't know what YouTube used as the thumbnail since I had to restart the stream. Probably some old piece of art. Okay. All right, I think now's a good enough time that we talk about Void Rivals. If you're not caught up with Void Rivals, then this discussion will be spoiler heavy. We're going to talk about all Void Rivals. If you want my recommendation on whether or not you should read Void Rivals, if you enjoy Transformers, if you enjoy the Energon universe, then absolutely you should be reading Void Rivals. Of course, it's the third kind of franchise happening in the Energon universe. So, but my thoughts. The thumbnail was something related to Soundwave. Yeah, I think it was a piece of art that I had used at one point for something else. It randomly grabbed it. Now, well, that's fine. These live streams aren't monetized. It's not like I'm trying to pull in. I mean, of course I want to pull in extra viewers, but okay, let's talk about Void Rivals. So a lot of people, I think, immediately when they think about the channel and they think about Delta Trion and Void Rivals, they think Delta Trion hates Void Rivals, which is not true. It's not true. I think I am just more critical of Void Rivals than most people are. That being said, the reasoning for that is because there's not a lot of people talking about Void Rivals on YouTube. Swizz Prime and Moonbase 3, good friends who we do Teletran tapes with, they used to cover the series on a month-to-month basis. They have stopped because, at least they told me, they felt that there wasn't really much of there wasn't enough of an interest from viewers on it. And that's fine, you know. As you have a YouTube channel, you're making more and more content. Sometimes you got to cut things because it's just taking up too much time of your life. So Void Rivals is the first thing to go. So the spectacular what is your name? Spider Bro, maybe I shouldn't be here. I haven't read it. I'll try and remain spoiler free, but inevitably it will come up. So yeah. So what I want to do is I want to focus on book 1, which is volumes 1 and 2, the first 12 issues. Then we will continue on to talk about volume 3 and 4 in the future. So if you're sitting in the comments being like, "Hey, I want to, talk about the newest issue," we will get there. And yes, technically, the newest issue is this upcoming Wednesday, but we'll get to the new stuff. I want to go through book 1 first. So Void Rivals was the start. It was the start of the Energon universe. It's written by Robert Kirkman, with art by Lorenzo De Lafici, who I think is a beautiful artist. Beautiful artist. And Void Rivals was kind of this out-of-nowhere comic from Image that introduced us to the Energon universe. It introduces us to this character, Derek, who we see here on these pages. He has this device called the Hand Droid, which is this red hand. It kind of talks to him and helps him do things. It's, I guess it's sentient. I mean, it's a robot. It's not really written like it has feelings. It's very blunt, and Derek is a very... I call him the Star-Lord character. He's a pilot. He thinks he's suave. He thinks he's cool. He's like Chris Pratt from the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. He's kind of a goofball. So, the first thing I want to say about this is beautiful art. Beautiful, beautiful art. Yes, I'm aware of Connor Hughes taking over the art in issue 19. We will talk about that. I have thoughts on that. Beautiful art from De Lafici here. We're introduced to another character, which is basically Salila. Essentially, let's see if here. I'm trying to remember if there's a page on this. Derek and Salila belong to 2 different warring factions that kind of live on this same ring planet. They hate each other because they're different. They hate each other because that's just the way life has been. Blah, blah, blah. Anyways, they find Jetfire, and this is where my issues come in. And again, I'm not here to tell you that Void Rivals is bad. I'm not here to tell you that you should not read Void Rivals. I'm simply coming in to say, hey, I'm reading Void Rivals. I enjoy Void Rivals, but I have some issues. I do not think Void Rivals is a perfect comic at all. So, here's the situation. This was kind of a surprise for many comic readers that Jetfire showed up. This was Robert Kirkman's way of introducing Transformers. Technically, the surprise was kind of spoiled because there was posters and videos, and you know how it goes. But for comic readers who read comics, they're reading this thinking they're getting a new story, which they are, and a Transformer shows up. And it's a really cool moment. You're like, well, wait, this is Jetfire. Now, however, 2 years later, we all know this for the most part, but this was a really cool moment. But here's my issue. Here's my first issue with Void Rivals. And my first issue with Void Rivals is the fact that Robert Kirkman has said many, many, many times with Void Rivals that growing up as a kid, he loved Transformers, and he always wanted to write a Transformers comic. And since he was a kid, he knew, if I ever get Transformers, if I ever get to write the comic, here's what I'll do. I'll create a new comic over here, and I'll have it going on, and then surprise, here's a Transformer, and then Transformers will show up. To which he then said, I got to do that. After I did that, I then had to figure out what Void Rivals was going to be. So even to an extent, Robert Kirkman is kind of admitting that, hey, Void Rivals was originally just conceived as a delivery device for Transformers. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm not saying that's wrong. But I think it kind of gives you a glimpse into the mindset of Void Rivals. Kirkman has also stated a couple times in interviews that Void Rivals is his weekend project, that when he's done at work, he spends what little free time he has on the weekend to write Void Rivals. And Volumes 1 and 2, Book 1, first 12 issues, I don't think you can feel that. I think the beginning of this story is slow. I see you guys saying that it's slow in the comments, and it is. It is a slow start. But I actually really I think this is the best of Void Rivals. I think Volume 1 and 2 is the best of Void Rivals. Because it's setting up this new world with new ideas, with, different societies and different issues going on throughout the world. And this is what I like about Void Rivals. It's something new. It is connected to Transformers, obviously. There's a connection to Energon and how the characters, can utilize it. And it's got the story about Derek and Celila, who are enemies, and they have to work together. But it also brings in very quickly some space opera stuff, which I love. It brings in the kookier, crazier side of Transformers, like Skuxoid. I love Skuxoid. Skuxoid needs his own comic, and I am very anti. We need a fourth Energon Universe comic. We don't. 3 is perfect. But if Skuxoid got his own comic, I would be okay with that. Professor Nobody, I never read Void Rivals. Should I give it a go? Oh, man, that's a tough question. Like I said, the first 2 volumes, first 12 issues are really slow. But if you like kind of space opera, space adventure, then I think you'll have fun with it if you're willing to invest in the ride. So we quickly see that Void Rivals is not just about Derek and Celila, but it's kind of about all these different characters throughout the universe. We see a lot of Skuxoid. We see a lot of, the Quintesson judges and whatnot. We see a world outside of Derek and Celila. And that's great. That's really cool. Obviously, I am a fan of Void Rivals because, let's see if I can find it here. My profile picture is based off of Emperor Zalalac, who is this guy right here. Originally, if you know, my original channel... am I skipping pages here? My original channel profile picture is an image of Zalalac, which I'm sure we'll see here in just a little bit. And then I had a custom one made that was based off of it. We get more Transformers in it. We get Shockwave in this. And so Void Rivals is obviously it's a very, what's the word I'm looking for? Ancillary product. It's the sister comic to Transformers. And I like that. I like that it has, little pieces of Transformers here and there, like with Shockwave. Let me catch up on chat here before we get into some things that I'm not as huge a fan of. Is Skuxoid actually a bigger part of Void Rivals, or is just a cameo? No, Slonk. He's actually quite a big part of Void Rivals, especially in the later issues. Skuxoid one-shots sprinkled in an annual or something. So we'll get to that, Sean. That's kind of what... look, it's Delta in the books. Thank you, Drunk3PO, for watching the videos. Thank you so much. Void Rivals is like an ode to all the wacky space stuff from Season 3 of G1, and I felt I've felt has been downplayed over the years because of that season. It isn't beloved as Season 1 and 2. And we will get to that, Makuto Sol. You guys are like hitting the nail on the head for what I'm going to talk about. And what I need to do is speed up here through book 1. So yeah, lots of good stuff here. Springer shows up. There's my original profile picture. There it is. Zalalac's head. Not him like that. More Skuxoid. Hot Rod. Springer show up. I want to say this. I want to put this right off the bat. I like Hot Rod. I like Springer. I like that they had Shockwave. I like that they have Skuxoid. These are Transformers characters. These characters, I wholeheartedly believe, could not fit into the Transformers comic. The Transformers comic is full. It's got enough going on. I'm glad that these characters get to shine in kind of their own separate story. Love these guys. If you were to try and take what's going on with Hot Rod and Springer and even Skuxoid and put it in Daniel Warren Johnson's Transformers, I don't think it would work. It would be too much. We would be jumping back and forth way too much. So I'm glad they're here. I'm glad that we get these characters inside of Void Rivals. So more great stuff. I'm looking here for some of the best artwork ever. Here we go. This is really what sold me on the series. When I started reading Void Rivals and we got to these pages, when we get to see Proximus. Proximus, is that his name? I'm trying to remember. This artwork from Felici is just so amazing. This character as well is so awesome. Please, Hasbro, please give me a figure. I know you did the O-ring figures for Derek and Celila, but please give me a figure of these two guys. That's all I ask for. Please. Or if somebody knows somebody who makes custom figures, please. So I would love it. Let's look at chat here. I'd absolutely kill for a Transformers the movie adaptation with Hot Rod and Skybound. I think it's what makes it very cool. It's a very cool space story with a sprinkle of characters absolutely know and love like Hot Rod and Springer. I just want to get more and more invested. So, overall, my thoughts on all of this. Here's where Springer shows up. Oh yeah, we can't skip over this amazing page of Skuxoid. And now we know we've gotten far enough into the series to know why he's so sad. Okay, let's hurry it up here, Delta. Chat is moving along without you. Void Rivals, Book 1, first 12 issues, Volume 1 through 2, is slow. I like it. It's slow. It's more of a world-building story than it is, an exact piece-by-piece story. It's building to something greater. And I like that. I like the ending. I like this idea that something is out there. I love Skuxoid. I enjoy Derek and Celila. I love reading about them here in the back of the hardcover book. We get some more information on them. I like this new world that we're getting into. So overall, at this point, when we got to issue 12, I was like, hey, I like Void Rivals. Void Rivals is cool. Then we get into Volume 3, and I don't have Volume 3 with me. I decided not to buy the trade paperbacks for these comics anymore. I'm just going to wait and get the books. So I don't have Volume 3. I apologize. And single issue-wise, I only have Volume 4 issues. So I'm just going to leave these here. Volume 3 is where my issues become larger. And here's why. And many of you will probably disagree with me, and that's okay. That's totally fine. Void Rivals, to me, is about the Void Rivals, Derek and Celila, and their adventures through space. And yes, in Book 1, we also get some side characters like Skuxoid and Hot Rod and Springer, and they have stories that are going on as well that are somewhat disconnected from Derek and Celila, and that's totally fine. My issue with Volume 3 and with Volume 4, although Volume 4 is not done yet, so I'm leaving it off to the side, is that I feel like we start to leave behind the Void Rivals. Derek and Celila as characters, I feel like have really not changed much in a character sense. Physically, they've changed. But in a character sense, I don't really feel like they've changed much since the beginning of Book 1 all the way into Volume 3. And while I do enjoy the more Season 3, Generation 1 Transformer stuff that's being sprinkled in, I feel like that's taking over the Void Rivals story. I feel like there's times where we go quite a few issues without really having any movement on Derek and Celila's characters. And so this is not me saying Void Rivals is bad. This is just me saying that I feel like they enjoyed the Season 3 stuff so much, which I enjoy too, that this kind of got left behind for a little while. And that was my issue. It was like, okay, I like this stuff. This stuff can only exist in Void Rivals. It does not belong in G.I. Joe. It does not belong in the Transformers comic. It belongs in Void Rivals. But it's coming at the cost of the Void Rivals. So here's my biggest issue. Void Rivals, Volume 1 and 2, Book 1, issues 1 through 12, are slow. Very slow. And there's not a lot of character development. Derek and Celila, to an extent, are kind of boring characters. I feel like they need a few more traits to really flesh them out. Volume 3 speeds things up. We're going a lot faster. We're getting more. And so the easy answer is, well, Delta, they fixed the issue. They fixed the issue in Void Rivals. Things are going faster. Better stories are being told. And there's two answers to that. Yes, Volume 3 does fix a lot of those issues. Things do get going faster. Things are picking up the pace. Character moments and stories are evolving. But it doesn't fix the issues of Book 1. The issues are that Derek and Celila, for me, are not super well-written characters. And what Volume 3 does, it says, hey, to fix Derek and Celila not being super well-written characters, rather than writing them better, we're going to give you more Skuxoid, which I love Skuxoid. I love him. Of course I want more Skuxoid, but it doesn't fix Derek and Celila. And so is this really hard situation to be in where I'm like, yes, I do enjoy Void Rivals. I love what they're doing, but there's some core fundamental things to it that are just really bugging me. The fact that Derek and Salila as characters, here's how I would explain them. Derek is funny pilot, and Salila is stoic warrior, and that's it. There's nothing else to it. And it's just like, I need a little more from these characters. The series is Void Rivals. I need more from the Void Rivals for that. And so I don't hate Void Rivals. I'm just so conflicted at it at times. I love Skuxoid, but Derek and Salila, I feel like, are kind of being left behind. I've talked a lot. Let me read up on chat here. Is it because of Pythona and Cobra Law? I don't know if this is a question for me. I actually do enjoy Pythona and Cobra Law being in the series. Manny Rosa, welcome. They did lose focus in Volume 3. See, Atuma kind of gets it. How do you feel about Pythona from G.I. Joe being added? I like it. I like that Void Rivals is kind of... Here's the thing. I do want Void Rivals to be its own thing. I understand that it has to intersect with the other two titles. And it's doing the most. It is doing the back work for the most intersecting. Transformers and G.I. Joe have little bits like, hey, don't forget we've got this comic over here. Of course. But Void Rivals is doing the most of the kind of meshing of it. And so I like that there's Transformers and G.I. Joe stuff. I like that, but again, I feel like it's almost kind of trumping the original work that I want to see from Kirkman. So I like Pythona and Cobra Law. I agree with Salila, but Derek, he's so much fun. Derek is fun, but I want more from his character. I'm curious by what you mean they're not well written. Could you give me some examples? Sure. So when I say they're not well written, what I probably want to say is they're very one-dimensional. Derek, again, I feel like is from issue 1 up into what issue are we on now? We're on 21. Yeah, up to issue 21. I don't feel like his character has changed much. You know, his ideals and his thoughts have changed, but he has as a character has not grown much. And I wish I would have seen more from it. I feel like he's your average funny pilot guy. Hey, boing boing nah. Void Rivals sounds like the melting pot of the Energon universe. It is. And I think that there's ups and downs to it being the melting pot of the Energon universe. I think we now have enough on Derek because of the daddy issues. That is true, and the daddy issues are brought forward since the beginning, and it's here's the thing also that just kind of boggles my mind is that I feel like a lot of the setup from issue 1 is just now being gotten to in issue 21. I'm not saying that's bad, but I just would have thought that it would have come a little bit sooner. Let me actually open up issues 20 and let me open up issue 21 here. Ooh, that probably doesn't sound good. Sorry, guys. Salila is kind of bland, though. See, that's interesting that some of you are saying that Derek is bland, and some of the others are saying that Salila is bland. I think it can go both ways. I think I need more from their characters. And I will admit, it's almost unfair to compare Void Rivals to Transformers, because when you have a character like let's even just take Ratchet. We have years and years worth of Ratchet to pull from, emotionally, mentally. For Void Rivals, we have nothing. There's literally nothing. It's just, these are new characters. And comics are limited in what they can show us and what they can do. And so, we have to understand that as well. Do you think you'd enjoy the comics as a full thing when it's complete? That's a good question, Slonk. I am always telling people that the best way to read Daniel Warren Johnson's work is as a full comic, like a full read through rather than month to month. There's nothing wrong with reading it month to month. But I do think that Void Rivals is better consumed in chunks. I would say volumes. On a month to month basis, there's times where it's like, okay, sure, man, whatever. Not this issue. This issue and the Skuxoid issue, I thought were both pretty good. So, Name Brand Company is in here. Hey guys, if you haven't watched the Name Brand Company's newest film, what are you doing? What are you doing, guys? We need to do a live stream watch of that film. I personally think their basic archetypes are fine. The secondary characters have more depth because of the main character. Because of the main characters, to me, have depth. They're deliberately hiding from others and themselves. That's a good point, Makuta. That's a good point. I felt that way in the beginning, but I think Volume 3 made you invested to the characters. That is also a good point. Again, I think we're all going to have, kind of different opinions on Void Rivals. Okay, we have to talk about this. I'm going to put this to the side here real quick. Name Brand Company here in the chat, guys, while I get this up. Good friend of the channel. If you have not seen his film, has it hit Name Brand? What's the view count on the new film? I saw it a few days ago. What is it at now? I'm trying to find here. What page am I looking for here? I've gone too far because I need Zalilac. Zalilac. Some of the names in this series are a little goofy to say. Zalilac. Like, couldn't you just call him Zalak or something? Who knows? Who knows? Am I skipping 2 pages there? Man, I know this page is in here somewhere. Maybe this page is not in here. Maybe it's way further. Yeah, it's way further. 127K on Name Brand's newest film. We need to do a stream to go over there and watch that. I have already watched it. Name Brand, don't worry. And it is a fantastic film. It is a feat like no other. I call him Zalilac. Wait, no, Zalilac. Yeah, it's funny how we all say their names. I mean, I hear people saying Darak as well as Solia, and I'm like, it might be Solila. Who knows? Okay, I'm not able to find a panel here. I want to talk about art for a second. I'm not an artist. I can't draw. I can draw stick figures. I cannot draw them very well. And art changes happen. Artists change from time to time. We saw it in Transformers. We went from Daniel Warren Johnson over to Jorge Corona. It was a change. I enjoyed the change. I thought it was great. Changes happen, and that's fine. That being said, I actually do like Hughes' work. What's his name? Connor Hughes. I keep thinking it's Brad Hughes. Connor Hughes. I like Connor Hughes' work. When Connor Hughes is drawing Void Rivals for like Skuxoid, it's very Generation 1 cartoon to me. It's very space cartoon, and I love it. There's almost, again, there's a cartoon sense to it. There's almost a goofy sense to it, and I love it. However, it's really, really, really hard for me to go from a character looking like this, steeped in shadows and darkness and this kind of, super serious overtone to this. And again, I know at this point in the series, his suit has changed, so it is different. But just from a design standpoint, and again, I'm not here to say I could do it better or Connor Hughes is a bad artist. No, of course not. It's just, it was such a shock to me when I started reading and saw Connor Hughes change. And again, I know why artists change. I have no problem with an artist changing. It was like, man, I don't dislike Connor Hughes and his work, but I really was hoping that, we could switch away from this very round, blocky, almost kind of fat, cartoony look back to what Void Rivals originally was. That's a very personal hot take. That's very much to each their own. On what they like to look at. That's not me sitting here going, well, the new art is actually not as good. It's not what I'm saying. It's just, it's different. It's a different style, and it's different. And again, there's sections of it that I like. I love the Skuxoid stuff when we're focusing on Skuxoid. I actually even really kind of like the Transformers themselves in this art style. But I feel like the original Void Rival characters suffer a bit in their design from what we used to get. Especially this image here of Zalilac. What did they do to my boy? What did they do to him? Come on, man. That ain't right. Again, this is a very much. I feel like it's just that you don't like his Gandalf the White outfit. Well, no, I don't think so. I think it is if we saw what's his name? If we saw Felici drawing him, because I also believe that Proximus had a bit of a downgrade in the art. But again, I'm not saying that the artwork is bad. I'm just saying that I would have preferred to stick with this more kind of realistic art. Why is it so hard for me to find the panels here? Here we go. And again, different tone, different style. I get it. Got nothing wrong with that. And it is still staying, consistent in the design. It is. It's definitely a change. I also just don't like Zalak's big clunky shoes. Get this man's wearing Crocs. Come on. Corona had a similar style to Danny Warren Johnson, which is what made the change not feel so dry. That's true, Slonk. It's true. Fair take, though. The early books were heavily inked and moody. You are correct. Yeah. The new designs make me think of the gorillas. And I'm throwing something else in here that takes my argument and completely destroys it, because originally when I was thinking about this, I was like, well, the new art is just inferior, which is not true, because if you go into some of these earlier pages of Void Rivals, you have scenes like this, which are super detailed, but it's easy to forget that you also have scenes like this, which this actually looks really similar to Connor Hughes' work. So Connor Hughes' work is not, it's not like it's completely wrong or new. I mean, some of these smaller pages that are more action-focused and don't need as much detail, actually, Connor is matching quite well. I'm trying to see if I can find another one here. This is all just talking, all dialogue. Man, so much talking. When do they fight? They're Void Rivals, not Void Discussers. So yeah, I'm throwing my argument completely under the bus. I'm complaining about Zalak looking like a clunky boy over here. But you go into some of these really small pages, and he looks very similar here. So, again, this is all completely me being like, ooh, I want the art to look different. I think what I truly want is, I don't mind this. I just want to have these big page moments where we see a character in stunning detail like this, to kind of catch our eyes. That's something that book one always did, because sure, you have a page here where it's like this big moment, but again, Zalak, he looks a little tubby, which I'm not one to talk. Isn't there a final? I thought there was a final page. Maybe it's I think it's actually in 20. Spoilers. I do think Zalak being more of a good guy is what removes the heavy lighting as well. That is a good point. As well as the de-emphasis of shadows. That is a good point now that Zalak has kind of changed his tune. I think... actually, what I want to do is I want to look at... is his name Doolin? I always forget. I want to look at the difference. Again, this is not bad art. I enjoy this art. I think it was just such a change for me. I want to look at what Doolin looked like between these two. Oh, no, that's too far back. Man, again, it's always hard to find the exact page that you want. I guess we can also talk about the future of Void Rivals. We know it's going to be continuing. Robert Kirkman is obviously the writer of Void Rivals, but he's going to be writing Transformers now, as well as Skinbreaker, and I believe he's working on 2 other comics right now. So he's obviously a very busy man. He can write multiple comics at the time. He finds a way to do it. But I will be interested to see if Void Rivals suffers a bit, because he's going to be busy. Yeah, so these are the same character. I'm not saying these are different characters, but it is a big difference, to have this very dark, moody kind of look and then to look forward and be like, again, I'm picking at the tiniest things right now when it comes to Void Rivals. let me catch up on the chat here. Doolin, yes, all right. I just want to make sure that I had it right, because again, every now and then I'll say a character's name incorrectly, and in my mind, that's just forever what they're called. Resealable bags, by the way. If you're getting bags and boards for your comics, get the resealable bags. That way you can actually take the comic out. Will the seal ever be as strong as it was the first time? Nah, probably not. But comics are meant to be read. Floop. So. Floop. I got this cover because of Zalak. So this, I'm pretty sure this is actually Felici's cover, is it not? Because he still does covers. I would have to look into that before I speak on it. Okay, let's see. Let's catch up here. If a story is slow, I just thought of this. It's from JS. If a story is slow, I really like that idea, in my opinion. I think of it as the newer Dune movies as they were slow. Yeah, no, I enjoy a slow burn. I really do. I have no problem with the story taking its time being slow. My issue with book one was that it was slow, and I felt that the ending of it was not enough for me to be like, let's go. It was more like okay, cool, yeah, let's have some more. I wanted a little more to happen at the end of book one. But I did enjoy its slow pace. But then volume 3 through 4, it speeds super fast. Man, I forgot about these two pages. These two panels are just fantastic. Maverick says, hey, Delta, big fan. Also got a question. Do you think Void Rivals should be tied to Transformers history, like with Zerta and stuff? I like the lore aspects, but Void Rivals is its own story. Maybe shouldn't be a lore dump. That's a great question. I don't feel that it's a lore dump. I feel that the whole Zerta plotline and Energon and the Zertonians and Agronians, I feel like it's separate enough from the Transformer story that's being told that it ties in, but it's not required reading. And I think that's why it works so well. I personally don't find it as lore dumping. But if you do, that's a perfectly valid thought. So speculation time, knowing that they have a rough roadmap for the next 24 to 36 issues, what do we think's in store? It's got to become Skuxoid. Skuxoid's going to become the leader of the Sacred Ring. Please. I feel like the Quintesson War is going to be a big moment for the whole EU. It's going to change all the comics. Yeah, and it will be interesting since we're doing Dreadnoks at the time as well. I want more lore on Zerta Trion. Not her connection to Transformers, but just how she made the two pieces and how she could pull all this off. Yeah, and it was really cool. I don't have the issue with me seeing her that she is what was the character's name from Generation 1? She's in that one page with Alpha Trion and Orion Pax. Somebody throw in the chat what that female character name was from Generation 1 that was not even a character that they've kind of retrofitted into being Zerta. I've completely forgotten who she is. Felici did do that cover. Yeah, I want more Felici. But I know Felici's off doing other stuff, so I get it. I get it. Who was that character? I'm gonna have to look them up on TF Wiki. Hold on, we got an ad on the music. Oh, okay. So it did not. My music did not continue as I had asked it to. There we go. All right, TF Wiki real quick while you guys are looking at that. And let me look up Zerta. Zerta Trion was, Beta. Beta, yes, Beta. Yeah, so that's cool that they're using, again, old G1 stuff that was never really touched. I mean, we saw that with Mechanicore and Transformers, to see that type of stuff going on. JS is asking about Beta. Yeah, if you go to TF Wiki and search up Beta. Beta was a female character from, you know what? Why don't we just show you what I'm looking at? We'll just move this up. That way you guys can see real quick. There we go. Beta. Yeah. Generation 1 character. Here's a scene of her from I don't know if this is from Void Rivals or if this was from the Energon Universe special. I always forget. But yes. Yeah, she's obviously based off of this character from Generation 1 that showed up for a very little bit. I'm pretty sure she showed up just in one, yeah, right down here. Yeah, the night before the climactic battle with the Quintessons, Beta found A3, who becomes Alpha Trion, and his coder remote had gone missing. This is from Forever is a Long Time Coming. So yeah, it's really cool that they're taking these older characters that were just kind of there and utilizing them. Obviously, here you can see that she's being used in the Energon universe. So yeah, I like it. I like that idea. Let's switch this back. That way I can get back to reading chat. I wonder if they setting these people up as new target masters. Yeah, that could work. With G1, there was a lot of plot threads and lore that got left on the floor. I'm glad they're being reused now. Yeah, it is really cool that they're able to do that. I saw the panel when I was looking at the page and saw Beta, and I was like, oh, I think I know who that is. Mm-hmm. Void Rivals is a great way to flesh out the space and cosmic elements of G1 without derailing the status quo on Earth most people are familiar with and more picky about. I do agree. Again, I 100% solely agree with you. I just wish that for a comic named Void Rivals, it would focus on the Void Rivals a little more. And maybe we're getting back to that. Maybe we'll see this Wednesday, issue 22 is coming out. Maybe we're going to be right back to where we were with the story. I just feel like volume 3 and 4 kind of strayed away from Derek and Celila a little bit too much. I remember, of all of Void Rivals, I remember more from Skuxoid and the Cobra Law stuff and the Transformer stuff than I do about Derek and Celila. And I think that is a weakness on the comic writing of Derek and Celila. With the exception and realization that Derek and Celila are brand new characters, and everything else that is more memorable because we already have preconceived notions of them. So I do think that's very important for me to also say in there. And you make films of these comics. I've fallen so deeply into Void Rivals now. I blame you. Yeah. TFI, you still have my my first 3 volumes of Transformers. I have the first 2 volumes of Void Rivals if you want them as well next time we meet up, because I collect the books now. I'm not really collecting the trade paperbacks anymore, so I don't need to collect singles, trade paperbacks, and actually let me just pull them. I don't need to keep collecting all of these. I will say though, this cover is beautiful, but I mean it's within this book anyways, so TFI, next time we meet up, if you need these books, let me know. I'd be happy to hand them off to you. I do think now that this book is, I'm always going to recommend the hardcover books, of course, InStockTrades.com. I'm not affiliated. I don't get any money from them. I just love their website. I do think the hardcover is still, of course, the most definitive way to read these stories, but the trade paperbacks are more readily available and they come out quicker. And I think more people will pick these options. I think it's just a quicker and smarter way to do that. But yes, TFI, start making fan films. I think I'm either going to order the issues or go into the comic store, but I don't know. Yeah, this Wednesday I'll be grabbing the newest issue. If If I get the Jetfire set with Derek and Salila, I will make. Yeah, I was really interested in getting that because I really want that Jetfire. I never had the Siege Jetfire, and I really like the more cartoon accurate colors. But I don't know if, what is it, $120? $120 not really in the budget right now for anything at the moment. TFI, I'll buy the Jetfire and I'll just send you the Void Rival figures. You can have those guys, the O-Ring figures. Yeah, I think the volumes are the most consumer-friendly way to read these stories. But again, the hardcover books are just so nice, especially because you're not dealing with gutter loss. You're not going to lose any of the art that's happening in these gaps versus where you can. I don't think Void Rivals has any issues of that because they don't ever have a character whose face is printed in between two pages. That's where you would see it most. There's a couple of two spread pages in here. Like this one is fine. You know, you're not going to lose too much in the trade paperback. This is totally fine. Going from this, okay, you're losing a tiny bit to, from this to this. There's not that much of a difference. But when you do get into comics, again, where you have a character's face printed in the center, like Daniel Warren Johnson does this a lot, I do think it is well worth getting the hardcover. And what is also nice about the hardcovers is that you get, where is it? You get those extra pages. Oops, I passed them. You get those extra pages to kind of learn about the characters and their designs and what they were going to look like, you know. What Salila was going to look like at one point and how Derek came along. And so, yeah. This is really cool here. This is the original piece that Felici drew for Kirkman as the pitch to Hasbro. It was like underwater, and these characters were strange, you know, with triangles and circles. It was really cool. It's really cool to see what was before that ended up becoming Void Rivals in general. Do you have any voices in your head when you read Void Rivals? Like how you imagine Derek and Salila sounding? In my head, they all sound like me, just because I'm reading it. Dumb Jake in here, Chungus. I read him online first, then buy him in volumes. Yep, that's a great way to do him as well. Roddy is getting time to be himself without being upherded as an Optimus Prime's replacement. Void Rivals underrated. It's really picked up in the last few issues. Man, Dumb Jake, you came in at the wrong time. I just got done screaming about how much I hate Void. No, I'm joking. I do agree with you, Dumb Jake. Void Rivals has picked up in the later issues. Volume 1 through 2, very slow. Volume 3, I felt like kind of lost sight. And then Volume 4 has kind of gotten us back in here. So, yeah, but I don't have the Volume 3 trade paperback. I want a Void Rivals game with maybe some Transformers elements. I don't think we're getting any video games ever. I love Derek's concept suit so much better than his final version. I will say that I do. I love this cover for Volume 2. This image that they used for all of the beginning of Void Rivals, just hit my microphone here, and I actually have the originals right here. I gotta say, I do not think this is a good first look for Void Rivals. I just think that this angle of having their waist closest to the kind of center point camera is just odd. I really kind of wish they would have used something else for the main covers that they did. I don't know. There's just something about this crotch forward look that really didn't work. Dumb Jake says, kind of hate the Skuxoid side story, but I'm hoping it leads to something interesting. Wow. Dumb Jake out here with a hot take. We all love Skuxoid in here. We need a Skuxoid 12-inch figure. Void Rivals is almost Star Wars-esque sometimes, and I love that it is just unapologetic retro-style sci-fi. That's a great point, Brushed. Volume 3 cover is really cool since it's Hot Rod. I can get a photo if you want to show chat. I've seen it before. Delta, it's because they're getting sucked into the black hole. That's why you get the crotch shot. Sure. Sure thing. Volume 4 trade paperback solicits out this month for Transformers and Void Rivals. Yep. The solicits are cool. We even have solicits for issue 25, and I think issue 26 Transformer solicits are just around the corner. So there are some people who say that it kind of ruins the hype for a comic, how early we get solicits, but I always have to remind people that us on the internet who are steeped in these comics, sure, we're reading the solicits early, but people who just read it on a month-to-month basis, they're not. My local comic shop, which is a pretty big, one of the biggest comic shops within the Dallas area, when I go on Wednesdays for New Comic Book Day, there's a line out the door to get in, and every time I go, without fail, Transformers is not the first comic to sell out. There's always a lot of Transformers left over. I'm not saying that the comic's doing bad. I'm just saying that for comic readers in general, generalized comic readers, there's a lot to keep up with. And so it's not like they're reading solicitations all the day like we are. Lore accurate crotch shot. I love the idea of the Sacred Ring, and after finishing Volume 3, I was so hooked and needed to find the individual issues. They're fun. They're fun. When, if Skybound gets around to using Transit, do you think they will use his 2015 RID design or the unused Rise of the Beast design? No idea. The solicits are also vague as hell, leading to plenty of speculation. Yeah, the Transformers issue 24 solicits are specifically vague, which I like. They're not showing us anything. Not showing us anything, which is good. You heard it here first on Delty Triad. Transformers is washed. That's true. I did say that, Dumb Jake. I did say it. I am excited. Next month we are getting book 2 of G.I. Joe. That way I can catch up. I do have book 1. Once I read through book 2, I'll probably start reading G.I. Joe digitally just to catch up quicker. That way I'm on board with the Dreadnought storyline. But yeah, that's all the Void Rival stuff I actually own physically. Let me put these back on the shelf here real quick, these guys. And you guys talk amongst yourselves. I will say, having these 3 books together is so nice. Let me pull up my OBS so I can see them. Having these together is so nice. They look so great together. I guess I actually never realized that, I mean, it makes sense that these two have the same, pretty much the same height border, and this one's got a larger one. It makes sense, though. Transformers is a much shorter title than Codename G.I. Joe and Void Rivals. G.I. Joe has been a surprising winner to me. I didn't love the miniseries except Cobra Commander, but the main book is really good. I've heard that the main book is great. I was fine with Duke. Duke was okay. I did enjoy Cobra Commander, and I have heard that Scarlet is kind of the weakest and Destro is fine. I do need to read through them, though. G.I. Joe hitting 2 times monthly for the Dreadnought Wars. Really? I wonder if they're trying to catch up. I did not realize that. I did not realize that at all. All those together could easily be a thumbnail. They will be a thumbnail on Teletran Tapes. So we got to do a video on how to collect the series best. I really like Cobra Commander. It's what got me into it. Yeah, I need to get that retro Cobra Commander figure. That way he can sit up there. For now, it's just going to be Barbecue, who, at least to my knowledge, is not in the comics right now, which is fine because, like Transformers, there's so many characters to pull from. What I do basically now during the weekday, is I just have toy reviews of G.I. Joe classified figures and listen to guys talk about how these characters mean so much to them. Because once again, I never grew up with G.I. Joe, so it's all new to me. Destro's miniseries is so good, I think you'll like it. It's a large reason behind that video you encouraged me to make about G.I. Joe being anti-war series. I'm very excited for that, Makuta. I am getting a little tired of people saying they won't read G.I. Joe simply because it is, what do they say, pro-American war. I would disagree with that, and I've not even read all of it. I didn't like Duke. Destro was alright. I loved Cobra Commander and Scarlet. Interesting. I think Scarlet and Destro are equally mid. I love Destro's cover for book 2. Yes, yeah, that's the one I'm going to get. The here's the thing. This is cover B for Void Rivals. The first one is option was Derek. I did not get it, not because I dislike Derek, but simply because I think the yellow book would have looked a little ugly. And so for G.I. Joe as well, I got cover B, which is Cobra Commander. It's nice red because cover A is yet again yellow. I did not want the yellow book. And so for book 2, I will probably be getting the Destro cover. The orange is nice, but I just think Destro looks like a cooler character to have on there, though. Or you could be, you know, a true collector like JS Productions and just get all of them. Just get every single variant cover that exists to man and have them all, because why not? The rhetoric, what is Slonk saying here? The rhetoric just comes from people who never actually interacted with G.I. Joe and just parody on what others say. Yep, absolutely. Destro has a really cool crossover with TF in it, though. The only problem with Scarlet is they haven't picked the story back up yet. Okay, interesting. Kind of fell off the series not because the comics are mid, but because of IRL things and other interests getting in the way. It's just completely forgotten about it. It's fair. It happens. I have a whole shelf of comics back there that I have not caught up on because things are just happening. I love this figure, guys. I might even buy a few more of them because it's just such a good figure. There's something about the simplicity that I love. I loved, of course, the named wacky characters, but there's something about realistic, unnamed characters that just get me every time. I just have to say it again. If I was to get the deluxe books, I'd get Optimus and Starscream for Transformers, Cobra Commander and Scarlet for G.I. Joe, and Derek. So you're basically getting all of the variant covers except Void Rivals. It was interesting that Void Rivals Book 1 had Derek and Salila. I would have thought that Book 2 would have had one of the main characters. That way you could have both on the shelf, but if Book 2 has a Zalak cover, I have to get it. I mean, it's the inspiration for my profile picture, so of course I have to. I got the DM covers because those books lean heavily into the villains, and they are guaranteed to never be reprinted characters. It's true. I love how Daniel Moore Johnson said he won't say when the series takes place. Meanwhile, Scarlet mentions Netflix and chill. That would have to be a whole nother stream about timeline. We might get Mask in the EU soon, given that Tracker was in the EU 2025 special. He was, yeah. I do not. I'll say this here too about the Energon universe. I wholeheartedly do not think we need a 4th book or 4th title. I think we're good. Transformers, G.I. Joe, Void Rivals. I think we're perfectly fine. I think it's easy for us to be like, let's have 2 concurring Transformers stories going on at the same time, and let's have 2 Void Rivals comics. No, let's just keep it simple. I know we're only 2 years in, but I think we have a good pace. We have 3 titles a month to catch up with, and apparently G.I. Joe is going to be twice a month, so 4. I feel like we're good. I feel like book 2 is going to be Skuxoid and Hot Rod. I'm going to have to get the Skuxoid one. You're right. That's a great point. It would have to be Skuxoid because he's so featured in volumes 3 and 4. Yeah. I can predict for book 2 of Transformers possibly Megatron and Ultra Magnus. Yeah, I could see that. We do not need a 4th con. No, we don't. No. Having this and the Energon Universe special is fine. It's totally enough. I'm going to stand my firefighter up here at my monitor. And I'm going to see if I can stand barbecue up here real quick. See, he's just kind of gummy, you know? Okay. Nope. I need stands for these guys. Okay, Okay, stand over there. All right. Yeah, wonderful books. I love how they all look together. How come Cobra Commander is bigger than Optimus Prime? That makes no sense. He is strangely tall. Whatever. Yeah, no, these are great. Here, let me do them this way. That way we can see them all. Yeah, just for some reason, thinking about having this book and this book in yellow. This was like a mustard yellow, and this is a bright yellow. I didn't want two yellow books next to each other. I thought the blue, red, and green would be good. Red, green, blue. Opinions on the Visionaries and how they screwed over Cup for shock value. That is a great question. I have to think about that one. Fourth series is going to hurt my wallet. Yeah, I agree. Absolutely agree. It is interesting also that, excuse me, these books, I'm so happy that they tell you what they collect, because I feel like that's becoming harder and harder to find. 1 through 12, Duke, Cobra Commander, and Energon Universe special material. Same here, Void Rivals 1 through 12, and Energon Universe special material. So, if you did not know, the Energon Universe special for 2024 is collected in the hardcover books in Void Rivals and Codename G.I. Joe. So it will be interesting to see if I'm guessing they're just going to stick with Codename G.I. Joe and do book 3 as G.I. Joe 1 through 12. I can't imagine they would change this from Codename G.I. Joe to just G.I. Joe. You know, they would just continue on the titling. That way we can get to book 3. That would make, I hope that's what they do. That make the most sense. That way we have, 2, 3, 4, not book 1, book 2, and then book 3 and 4 of these, but then this goes back to 1. If I had to squeeze one more Hasbro IP into the Energon universe, I'd pick Rom the Space Knight. I love Rom, but I think he could fit in Void Rivals in the future. I do love Rom, though. Rom is great. Wait, so does the G.I. Joe book contain the Megatron escaping Cobra story from the 2024 special? It does. Yep. Since it's kind of a Transformers and G.I. Joe story. Sorry, my camera's shaking. That is how it's collected. Yes. The trade paperback volumes collect them differently. They collect them in full. They don't split them up. But yes, I can't remember. They put it at the end. They do not put it at the end. I think they put it right before Cobra starts. Duke. Well, hold on a second. It's in here somewhere, I know it. So we've got Duke. This is the end of Duke. Yeah, Duke end. Then we got this epilogue where Baroness dons her suit. That's the end of the epilogue. Cobra Commander. My dog just came up here and is licking my foot. Well, hold on a second. Where is it? Hold on a second. I'm going crazy. Collects Duke, Cobra Commander, and material from Energon Universe 2024 special. It's in here. I know because I skipped over it. Because I've already read it. Hold on, this is actually really weird, guys. So this is all Duke. Duke. Here he is fighting Blood. He's fighting the Bat. Okay, so here's the epilogue. She says, "Yo, Joe." Duke epilogue end. Cobra Commander. Did they splice it in here? Here's Cobra's backstory. Pythona. Globulus, my favorite character name ever. Who wouldn't want a name like Globulus? This is still Cobra. This is still Cobra Commander. Yeah, because here he wakes up. Cobra is on site now. There's 2 pages here. He's on site doing his stuff. There's Pythona. He's talking with, what's his name? Nemesis. Man, you guys have really got me questioning now if I'm going crazy or not. There he is with the smile. Nemesis shows up. It would only be a few pages. Destro. More Destro stuff. Yeah, he dons his helmet. Huh. Well, hold on a second. It's not in here. Am I going crazy? I don't think it's in here. Energon Universe 2024 special. It's not in here. It's not in Transformers. No. That is very strange. I may have to look into this online. Because I'm not seeing it in here either. I'm going to have to ask Carl and Moon to check their books to see what the deal is, to see if theirs are in there or not. Maybe mine just got cut out. That is so weird. I know they're collected differently in the trade paperback, so. Yeah, because what was the... Because it says... And material from Energon Universe special. Actually, and you know, now that we were talking about that, I don't recall seeing the Energon Universe special stuff in here. Do they have a Void Rivals first printing chapter 1? Yeah, they don't have Energon Universe special stuff in here. That's really weird. That is, I never noticed that. I might have to talk about that in a video. Man. Just for Volume 3, it is included at Transformers at the beginning. Yeah. Yeah, the trade paperback for Volume 3 has it. Oh, the 24 special snippet of the epilogue is Baroness, but they omit the Megatron. Oh, thank you, Makuta. You are correct. So I'm not wrong. I'm out here saying that, you know, Image is the worst. Robert Kirkman, you know, needs to go to jail for this. But this is the Energon Universe special stuff right here. I'm sorry, guys. I was getting so concerned there. Oh, you're right. You're right. It's the start of Volume 2, Void Rivals Chapter 2 in this book. It's been so long since I've read through these comics in single issue with the chapter breaks that I just read through this and I'm like, it's not here. It's here. Okay. Whew, man. The Energon Universe Void Rivals story is halfway through the book. It's where Hot Rod is talking to Skuxoid. You're right. Man. And you know, I have the single floppies for the Energon Universe special. I should have just grabbed them and checked them. So they are in here. Okay. I was a little worried that I would have to change the script for the Teletran Tapes video where we talk about how to collect all of these comics and the easiest way to collect them. I was about to say, uh-oh, no, actually you can't collect these. They don't exist, but they do. All right. It's weird that the Cobra Law Megatron Escape isn't in there. Yeah, that is interesting. Sean Giles mystery solve team. You helped us, Sean. That is interesting that it's not added in here. I wonder if it's going to be in book 2. That'd be strange if they put it in book 2. Interesting. Special will be at the beginning of the book. Yeah, let me actually check in stock trades here because they have their solicitation already up for book 2 of so I don't know, JS, because the solicitation for G.I. Joe, codename G.I. Joe, book 2 says that it collects Scarlet 1 through 5 and Destro 1 through 5. It has no mention of the Energon Universe special material. Interesting. Strange that it wouldn't say that, because it's got the full new deluxe format, Scarlet story, blah blah blah, Storm Shadow, the Arasakage, Cobra Commander Doom from the Start, 2 critically acclaimed teams. Yeah, collects Scarlet 1 through 5 and Destro 1 through 5. We don't have an image of the back of the book yet, so it will, I guess we'll just have to wait till next month. That's so strange. I wonder if they're going to put it in Transformers. Oh, no, they wouldn't put it in. You think they put it in Transformers Book 2 to kind of line up with Megatron's return? Show how he escaped and then how he returned? I don't know. That would be... I feel like that would just be so strange that they would do that. Boy, I sure hope someone gets fired for that blunder. Yeah, it will be interesting to see where they end up putting that section of the story, because it doesn't seem like book 2, and we don't have any word on book 2 of Transformers or Void Rivals at this point. I mean, we know they're coming, but they're not there yet. That's I'm glad we talked about that, because now we're thinking about that. But yeah, man, oh man, issue 23 of Transformers. Wasn't that great? But yeah, now you guys know. I'm actually going to start a poll here. Let me actually just put this down here so I can type it. Start a poll. All right, so do a poll here. Have you seen the new solicit for Skybound 26? Yes, I have. Start a poll here if you guys think the channel needs a dedicated Void Rivals video talking about my issues. You can say no. You can vote no. I'm in no rush to make more videos. It would basically be exactly what I was talking about here, so... Has a kind of juicy summary. It does. It does, yes. This is off topic, but I just bought SS86 Grimlock from Amazon, and I'm on Cloud 9 right now. I just saw him in stores, and I was really thinking about getting him, but I did not. I did not pick him up for now. How much is one of the books? Turtle, if you buy the book at retail, they are $50. If you buy them on InStockTrades.com, they are about $32, I think, right now. I will get you a link. I'm glad you asked. I am not affiliated with InStock Trades. I don't get any money from them. I just use their services. Transformers Book 1. Yeah, they're $30 right now on InStock Trades. I will drop you a link. So $50 is what the price is at retail. You can get them cheaper online. You can also look at organic priced books. And thrift books may actually have them, even though they're new. But this is where I buy all my comic books from, if they have them. Sometimes InStock does not. InStock, I'll tell you this, InStock Trades is slow when it comes to shipping. JS Productions knows this. They are not Amazon. They're not going to ship it out to you, within the few minutes that you bought it. And the more items you buy from them, the longer it'll take, because they're collecting everything up, but it is worth it. They package these books incredibly well. They treat these books incredibly well. I've never had a book come from them that's dinged or dented. When I buy from Amazon, I'm not saying you can't buy from Amazon. I buy stuff from Amazon every day. Every comic book I've ever bought from Amazon comes in a paper bag, a plastic bubble wrap bag, and it is damaged, it is bent, it is rained on. Again, I get it. Amazon is Amazon. I use them, but If you want the book cheap and you're not in a super rush to get to it and you want it in good condition, In Stock Trades is my personal recommendation. I just picked them up from my local comic shop. Yep, that's a good option too. I don't do that just because my local comic shop is about 2 hours away. And so ordering them online also works for me. I do pick up the single issues from my comic book shop, but I'm only going there like once a month. Which this upcoming Wednesday, I have like 6 comics to pull. So it's going to be an expensive month because we've got Void Rivals, we've got a new issue of Huck, Invisible Man comes out, Be Not Afraid. I need to pick up the last issue of Daredevil, Cold Day in Hell. So there's a lot this upcoming Wednesday. And that comic book shop does have G.I. Joe figures. I'm just saying. I'm probably not going to get any of that, though. They have... That comic book shop has like 1 million of the G.I. Joe Snake Eyes Origins movie Scarlet figure on the shelf. And it's like, I'm not really interested in that. Whatnot is the yikes. Yeah, I've never used Whatnot. I have all 3 volumes of the Transformers. It's awesome. By the way, I got volume 1 from Amazon a couple days ago. It came pretty good. It was one of those bubble wrap bags, and I seen it. It was good. Good. I'm glad. Plus, with prices sellers have for the books is absurd. Yeah, I've never used Whatnot. I get commercials and ads for them all the time, and it just does not look like something that that I'm interested in using. It's not. It's definitely not something that is for me, really. Not for me. Don't forget the Sonic 1 hardcover I keep pressuring you to read. I want to read it, but I don't want to spend $50 on it right now. I should just read it digitally, though. But here's the thing. Let me look at my shelf here for a second. I have 27 books on my shelf that I have not read yet, Makuta, and I have more singles that I have to read as well. So I'm kind of backlogged right now when it comes to reading comic books. And the problem is that I will have a comic book on my nightstand to read before bed, and then I'll get a new comic, and then it'll replace it. So the backlog keeps getting bigger and bigger. It's $30 at Target. $30 is a lot of money. $30 is a lot of money. Second printing of TF books as well. End of Bruticus, start of Superion, and start of individual Constructicons. Yeah. IDW hardcovers are very expensive as well. Very expensive. How do you think the new Bay film is going to play out? Is it going to be tied to either of the 2 continuities or be its own thing entirely? I don't really talk about the movies much, but I think it's going to be a Michael Bay Transformers movie. I think it's going to make money. Continuity-wise, I never really felt like any of the movies had much continuity. I know they do have some, but it'll make money. I probably won't see it in theaters, but I'll probably watch it at home. So that actually is a really nice... really nice shot right there. Actually, let me move this over so that it's technically centered. Yeah. Well, let's kind of get this guy like that. There we go. Look at that. Look how fancy that looks. Look at that. Man, I need to take a screenshot of that. I also had to message the seller that I got 8 covers for $24 just to make sure everything is A-okay. Yep, lots of people getting those issues in early. That way they can sell them. It's definitely nice that people are able to get those issues in a few days before the comic releases. That way they can sell it to people. What's not cool is every time I go to my local comic book shop, there is a line, which is fine. But you've got single individuals, who will grab like 4 to 5 copies of the same comic of the same cover. And they immediately take photos of them to put them up on eBay. So I'm like, I just want one comic. And they're like, cool, I'm going to take 4. And the next guy comes up. I'm going to take 4. Next guy comes up. I'm going to take 4. It's like, okay, I understand you're selling them on eBay, but please leave me one, please. So that's free market, though. That's the way it goes. That is big thumbnail material. Very much so. Just picked up the Void Rivals Jetfire the other day and read the first issue and really enjoyed it. Is it worth continuing? Random Game Dev, if you are willing to put in the work, it's a slow start, those first 12 issues. But I do think it is worth reading in the long run. But it is slow. Just be aware of that. Be aware of that. Need to drink some water. Would that be considered as a scalper? Slonk, I don't know. It's really hard to tell. When I worked in retail, the scalpers that I dealt with were people who would come in and buy as many PlayStation 4s as they could. That way they could sell it for list price because they were on sale. Those people did it as their job. They said that was their job. It's not a job. I truly do believe that people at my comic shop who are doing that are selling it to people who do not have a comic book shop near them. It's just a little annoying that they feel the need to rush forward. Like when the doors open and we're all in line, they literally start running. It's just a little annoying that they feel the need that they need to run and grab 3 to 4 copies of the same variant cover. They literally just go. We have like a big wall of all the. They literally just go boom, 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 boom on all of them, and it's multiple people who do that, all within the same friend group. And so it's just a little annoying. You got to kind of stand there for like 10 minutes and be like, I sure hope the variant I want is left over. And I should also say that the comic book shop does have a subscription service, so you can say, hey, these are the 5 comics that I want to get. These are the variant covers I want to get. There's no additional cost. They will hold them for you. You just have to pick them up and pay for them. So. But it's strange because the people who go in and pick up the 3 to 4 copies of each variant, they don't do that. I'm thinking, well, just do that. It'll just be waiting for you. There's no need to rush, but I don't know. Personally, not a fan of that at all. Yeah, I'm not either, but I'm only really ever at the comic shop once or twice a month, and these people are there probably every day. They're regulars, so... They're the true comic fans, But they don't have a thumbnail like this. They don't have a thumbnail. All this thumbnail needs is a Vortex with his mouth open. Hey, what up? Hey. That's what I did to make sure I'll get the ones I want. I'm doing that for Transformers VR and G.I. Joe. Yeah, I'm not collecting G.I. Joe in singles, again, because I just haven't caught up. But Transformers and Void Rivals are on my pull list. It's the last Wednesday of the month that's just so busy because there's so many comics that are coming out that I'm pulling. Second Wednesday is Transformers. And I don't think there's really any other comics on my pull list. So I literally just walk in, get my Transformers. And it's interesting because at that comic shop, it's Transformers and I think Batman, a couple of Batman ones, and I think there's a Terminator comic going on right now. Those all come out on that second Wednesday. When I get there, Transformers is always on the show. There's always leftover Transformers. Again, Transformers is doing great. It's selling super well. But the people at my comic book shop that are grabbing comics to sell online, they don't even touch Transformers. They leave it there. So I pretty much always have easy pickings of it. So... I think my comic shop knows me as the Transformers dude because I always come in wearing blue headphones and picking up Skybound. That's good. That's good to be known. They know me as the guy with the cowboy hat. The guy with the cowboy hat walks in, and they're like, he's coming to get his Transformers. And it's true. It is very true. Yeah, they start to know you. And I've told people because they've seen some of my behind-the-scenes videos of me at the comic book shop. Like, hey, I go to that comic book shop too. I say, well, if you see a guy wearing a cowboy hat, that's most likely me. Come up and say hi. So. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Void Rivals. Man, we did that in An hour and 34 minutes. What do you guys think? Do you think I'm totally crazy? Do you think I'm totally wacko? I'm absolutely wrong about Void Rivals. I had the worst take ever on Void Rivals that I want it to be better. That is not perfect. I'm almost rage baiting at this point. This is a good thumbnail. I'm going to have to keep this as the thumbnail. But no, but what were your guys' thoughts on my takes on Void Rivals? Do you think that my take was way off, or do you think there's some truth or some basis to what my issues with the series has been? Just to be clear, you hate the book, or absolutely, I hate this. Hate it. I don't know why it's on top. Totally understand your complaints with the series. I'm still enjoying it, though. I'm very excited for Volume 5. Yeah, I'll be picking up the next issue this Wednesday. I enjoy the Skuxoid stuff. I just want it to be a little more focused. You think that the whole Tryon thing should be implemented into primary TF lore in some way? I don't know about that. I think it works fine just in Skybound. Same with the clan system, with Transformers having this family. I think it works fine for Skybound. I don't think that it needs to be a centralized lore thing. I mean, each continuity has its own lore, so it's not really like there is a center lore. There's Generation 1, and there's definitely reused ideas that we see a lot, like the 13 Primes now. But I wouldn't say that it needs to be kept so much more than anything else, really. I'm going to move these down a little bit. I understand them, even if I don't feel like they detract with the book. That's fair. I think your complaints about the art and Derek's stagnation are a bit. Your mileage may vary, though. That's fair. Yeah, not sure if others have the same issues. No, totally get it. Totally get it. Basically, what you're saying is you're starting beef with. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Yeah, no, the art is a very subjective take. Absolutely, it is 100% me being like, I want Felici back. And for those people saying, hey, we're actually getting a new artist for Void Rivals in later issues, I'm blanking on his name. He did Birthright. The comic Birthright. He is only doing a few issues. He's coming in as a guest artist while Connor Hughes works on the Quintesson War. So there's definitely going to be some different art in there as well. Not too hateful, but not completely in love with the book, just neutral. Yeah, I will say I think overall I am more positive about Void Rivals than I am negative. G.I. Joe so far I'm neutral on, book 1. Because I really like Cobra Commander and Duke, I was like, okay. But that's also because I have not caught up on G.I. Joe. Transformers I love. Book 1 of G.I. Joe, I'm like, okay. And Void Rivals, I'm like, I like it, but I got a few little issues with it. So, overall, though, Energon Universe has been such a winner for me. I mean, my whole channel is based off of it, of course. Andre Bassan, yes, yeah. He did the art for Destro. Oh, okay. Destro, I know him from Birthright, so. Okay, cool. Yeah. Again, I'm not a Connor Hughes hater. I do like Connor Hughes' work. It's just different. Volume 2 of G.I. Joe is way better. Do you mean book 2, or do you mean volume 2 of G.I. Joe? Being like the G.I. Joe comic itself. Not, here's a little Megatron. Which one, since it's, Opinions on Cyberworld. I have not watched it yet. I haven't watched it. I think it's silly that people hate it. That some people, I'm not going to say everybody, some people dislike it simply because it's targeted towards a younger demographic. Just let it be what it is. I haven't watched it yet, though. Volume 2 G.I. Joe, which would be book 3 of the hardcover. Okay. I just want to make sure. Yeah, I haven't watched Cyberworld yet. Haven't watched it. I think I've seen a few. I think I've seen a few clips that people have been posting on Discord, but I have not watched I have not watched the show yet. Maybe at some point. Maybe sometime soon. What we have to do is we have to do a stream for Name Brand Company's new film. And we have to probably watch TFI's film. Which I'm totally not in TFI's newest film. Totally not. I would never be in one of his movies. Never. Book 2, I think you'll like Destro since a human character from TF Comics is the main character in it. But if you didn't like Scarlet, it'll kind of be me. I have my mind opened. And I do know that Astoria is in Destro. I know this because I am continuing work on the next original audiobook that's going to be on this channel. And it's going to be about Astoria and Powerglide. I'm very excited to get to that. I actually, you know what? I think I can show you some of the preliminary art for that. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, I did an original Transformers audiobook story. And we're doing another one. TFI is going to be helping out with 2. I'm going to take a screenshot of this because I don't want to show anything I'm not supposed to be showing. I'm going to see if I can get this into OBS real quick. That way I can show you guys a little sneak preview. Okay, here we go. Oh, okay, yeah, it's just gonna throw this on screen. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, here's a little sneak preview for what the next original story on the channel is going to be. We did that one, Optimus Prime with TFI, artwork by Cheesy Cryptid on Instagram. This is a little sneak preview of what's coming. I'm really, really excited for this one. If you haven't listened to the audiobook, I would ask you to. It's obviously not as well known on the channel because it's not Skybound. It's original content, so it's not going to do as well, but I was so proud of the story that we were able to tell. And this next one I think is going to be even more impactful and more special to Transformers stories. Is that Powerglide? It is Powerglide. It's Powerglide and Astoria dancing. Where are they dancing? Why are they dancing? You'll have to wait and find out. I'm hoping to have it out before Christmas. I'm pretty sure it will be out before Christmas. It's a longer story. I think the Optimus one was like maybe 7 pages. This one is around 20, I believe. So, Carl, super late to the party, but looking forward to going back and to hearing you rant. Oh, Carl, you already know that I hate Void Rivals. You already know that I despise Void Rivals. Urgh. No. If you ever need someone to do Starscream, please hit me up. I love doing his voice in Cobra Commander by extension. Powerglide fans are winning. Yes, I can't wait for the Powerglide. I will keep that in mind, Makuta of Salt. Yeah, these stories that I've been telling, that I've been writing, are kind of based in their own universe. They're not. There's obviously some Skybound inspirations, but they all take place after the kind of Earth-human, Cybertronian civil war that takes place, and kind of what happens after it. And so this one is gonna be a lot more dialogue heavy, and there's gonna be some flashback sequences. But I think that overall it's gonna have a really impactful meaning to it. So I'm really excited for people to get a taste of this when it's done. So absolutely love your Optimus Prime story. Cannot wait for this. Thank you. Yeah. So there's this one. I've written another one which I think will probably take a back seat. And the reason the third one is going to take a back seat is because in writing this one with Powerglide, I came up with another one, and let me get the figure came up with another story that I think will fit a little more into this kind of my own connected universe. And Carl, you'll like this, whether you're watching now or you're watching later, which would be a Beachcomber story. And so that original third story that was going to kind of wrap these up, I put to the side and said, hey, you know what? We should get to Beachcomber. You haven't read Destro yet, right? No, Carl, I haven't. I'm still waiting for book 2 to come out. I can read it digitally, I know, but I'm slow and lazy, and I have so many other comics to read. And I also just like reading them physical. I just like it a little bit better. Put this guy back. Oh, let me put these back too. All right, let's get this. Yeah, let's get this out of here. All right, man. Writers. Man, Atuma and Carl's collection out here. Having the favorite Transformer being Beachcomber. Yeah, I'm excited to write that one as well. That one's gonna require a lot of heart into that story. So, but I am very excited to do that. Dels is just gonna write short stories for all the mini bots. That's kind of what it's turning into. It's kind of turning into me just writing mini bot stories at this point. Astoria may or may not show up in issue 1. No, I know she's in it. She's doesn't she turn out to be Chameleon? I know she's in Destro. I know she's they utilized her in a different way than she was utilized in Generation 1. So very well aware of her use within the greater EU. I'm aware of what happens in Destro and Scarlet on a large scale sense. I just haven't read them issue by issue. So there's not too much in those stories that will surprise me. But it's just the actual process of going in and reading them. So she's Chameleon and Destro's lover. Yeah. Well, once Power Glide shows up, she's gonna dump Destro. He ain't worth nothing compared to Power Glide. Nuh-uh. Anyways, guys, I think that's a good place to end it. I've talked about Void Rivals. I've said how much I despise Void Rivals, and I want Robert Kirkman to be arrested for No, I'm joking. No, I'm joking. No. This is nice, though. This is a nice, short, little, I say short, it's almost 2 hours. Short, small stream, just to kind of hang out and chill out and talk about Void Rivals, and to get an idea if you guys really want me to do a Void Rivals video on it. Now I feel like I have to. So, gosh, I was wondering if it was a random occurrence that she's in your next story. It was, yes, a random occurrence that she's also in my next story. It was not because I was reading Destro and was like, I gotta put her in a story. No, so I think I'll be reading The Moon Is Following Us. We recently had something happen. I'm thinking Take Time Off YouTube will be be getting to it soon. It's a great one. It's been fun being here. Hope you guys have a good night. Hope you guys have a good Sunday tomorrow. You know, relax. Maybe go to a comic book shop or something, or a toy store, or maybe go to a Barnes and Noble and buy a book that Carl's collection is telling you to buy, like he's doing to me. That's right, going to a Barnes and Noble to buy a book that Carl is like, you got to read this, Delta. You got to read this. You're a good Blastonees. Okay, guys, I'm gonna leave this up here for a little bit. That way, everybody can say goodbye to everybody. But thanks for stopping by, as always. I really appreciate it.